Okay, I wanted to release this video ahead of time because I think it's important. I think that Apple is about to release earnings that are less than stellar, and here's why. iPhone 4S was kind of a disappointing release. I think a lot of people bought it because they had to buy a new phone. They'd been waiting for 2 years, like I did. I bought a 3GS and iPhone 4 came out. I kind of had to skip that because I was in a 2-year contract. And after 2 years, when I was ready to buy a new phone, I waited patiently 6 months and finally, I smashed my iPhone 3GS. I smashed the screen and it was like, okay, well, I guess it's time to buy a new phone. So I bought a 4S, and I love my 4S, don't get me wrong, but everybody in the last 6 months knows that the next iPhone is going to be the big one, and anybody that could afford to wait, all those iPhone 4 owners probably didn't upgrade to the 4S. So I think 4S is saturated. I think its life is over, and I think it ended probably about a month ago. But we'll see. I suspect that the iPhone 4S is going to be disappointing. I think that they sold quite a few MacBook Pros. I think that's going to be positive for them. But also, I think their iPad 3 is a flop. And, originally when the iPad 3 came out, they had plenty of supply in the stores, and I wasn't too concerned about it. I was like, well, all that means is Tim Cook's done a good job in getting these to market. But, what I didn't like about the iPad 3 was, one, they just called it the new iPad. Two, it looked pretty much identical to the last iPad, except it was thicker. And who the fuck wants thicker? 3, it had some heat problems, whether those were real or not. The perception is it had some problems. 4, and this is probably the most important thing, there was really no compelling reason to upgrade. I love my iPad 2. Love it. In fact, I'm using it right now. It's what's filming this video. But, and I'm the type of person that would have bought an iPad 3 in a second if it just gave me something. I mean, anything that would create, the iPad 2 was a quantum leap over the iPad 1. I mean, it was just awesome. I had to have this device. And I waited in line and I searched for it. Couldn't buy it the first day. It took me 2 weeks to finally acquire one. And it was because it was sold out everywhere. And it was sold out everywhere because it was just a great device. The world had never seen anything like it. So much better than an iPad 1. I think anybody that bought an iPad 1 probably, sold their iPad 1 and bought an iPad 2. But, or let someone else take over their iPad 1 and bought an iPad 2. I don't think that iPad 3 was a compelling enough reason to upgrade. You really couldn't do a whole lot more with it. All the old software still worked with it. It gave you some speech recognition, which to me, they could have built that into iPad 2, but they didn't with a software upgrade. So there really wasn't a compelling reason to buy an iPad 3, and I think this earnings report is going to show that the iPad 3 in relative terms was a flop. I personally don't know anybody that's bought an iPad 3. I know several people that bought an iPad 2. I don't know any of them that needed to upgrade or felt the need to upgrade. And so, you add these three together and you're going to see, in my opinion, you're going to see iPad 4S disappoints. iPad 3 really disappoints. The MacBook Pro is doing a little better than expected, but Mac is just such a small part of their business now that I don't think that that's enough to overcome the other two. So I suspect Apple's stock is going to drop precipitously today, and we may be touching 500 by the end of the week. So I bought some puts, and I hate to bet against Apple on an earnings report, because usually they report better than expected and it goes down. I mean, fuck. I can't even imagine what it's going to do when they report worse than expected. So we'll see. But that's where I'm at today. And I wanted to post this video before the earnings report happens. So if I'm right, I think it'd be cool, because I did bet some money today, and we'll see if I'm right or not. Later.